8 out of every 10 businesses fail in the first few years. Why do you think that is?
They don't fail because they don't have a good product or service. They fail because they're not working on their business.
They're working in their business.
If you're a carpenter, a baker, an app maker, or a software maker, it doesn't matter. You're building a product or a service, you're working in your business. Working on your business is things like marketing, financing, accounting. So that's working on your business.
Wow, I've never heard anybody explain it in that way.
My background is I'm what they call a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
I've started several companies in my life.
All right.
Going back to when I was a teenager, my first one was cutting grass
Okay.
with my friend.
All right.
We started with one, we grew up to 25 plots,
Okay.
and we made all our drinking money. It was great. And later on in life, I moved to Australia and I started a chicken wing restaurant. The first one in Australia.
Too much information in the business plan. I'll be selling the juice, but my haircut will be like this. That is not necessary.
$3,000, $1,500, and $500 to the best 3 business plans. It's called the Zanzibar Business Plan Competition. When I was growing up, we would have dinner with my family every night. My mother and father would say, okay, what's a good business idea?
Do you encourage other parents to do that with their kids?
To a point, there's more to life than making money. It's better to have a good life than a good business. But having a good business can be part of having a good life.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Akilimali Episode 6, and we have a special guest. Do we always have a special guest? I keep saying, guys, our guests are always special. And this time, I'm gonna let him introduce himself. So, sir, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do for a living?
Hi, my name is Anthony Adolf. You can call me Tony, please.
Okay.
I'm the managing partner of the Co-Prosperity Fund based in Zanzibar. We are an angel investment fund that serves Tanzania and the East African community. My background is I'm what they call a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
I've started several companies in my life.
All right.
Going back to when I was a teenager, my first one was cutting grass
Okay.
with my friend.
All right.
We started with my parents' lawnmower. We started with one, we grew up to 25 plots,
Okay.
and we made all our drinking money. It was great.
Wow, you used to loan all the 25 plots, just you and your friend?
Just me and my friend. yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's very interesting.
After that, in college, I started a language services company. We did writing, editing, and translation for businesses and organizations. Then after that, in Chicago, where I did my undergrad, I started a marketing company for small businesses. Then later on in life, I moved to Australia and I started a chicken wing restaurant.
Okay.
The first one in Australia.
All right.
And we grew that, and then I sold it, and then we moved back to Canada, and that's when I decided I wanted to move to Zanzibar and start an angel investment fund. The Gold Prosperity Fund is not a bank, it's not a micro lender, it's not a grant-making organization. We are an angel investment fund. That means we provide funding and support to startup businesses, small businesses.
Okay.
We do that in Tanzania mostly, but also in the East African community. That's our goal.
So you basically give people money?
We give people money, but a big component of angel investment is the support that we give.
All right.
So if you need help with marketing, with legal, with regulatory, with accounting, we provide support for that too as well.
Okay.
That's a big difference between micro lenders, for example, who give loans and don't give you money and forget about you. And angel investments, we're committed to seeing our businesses succeed.
So as the word says, angel investment, you are invested in the business. So you have to support them to grow.
You got
So
it.
it's not just I'm giving you money, but number one, if I'm correct, the business has to be good from your evaluations, but then you provide the support to make sure they continue being successful.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, interesting stuff. Okay, so we'll get back to how you moved from, you decided to live in Zanzibar, because I feel that is interesting. But for now, I want to ask you a question. It is commonly said in the world, not just in Tanzania, 8 out of every 10 businesses fail in the first few years. Why do you think that is?
I'd like to take a step back.
Yeah.
In North American business consulting, there's an expression that you either work in your business or on your business.
Okay.
If you're working in your business, if you're a carpenter, a baker, an app maker, or a software maker, it doesn't matter, you're building a product or a service, you're working in your business.
If you're actually in the business
Making
doing
products
it.
and services.
Okay.
Working on your business is things like marketing, financing, accounting, legal. So that's working on your business.
Okay.
So for me, and for most small businesses, they don't fail because they don't have a good product or service.
Yeah.
They fail because they're not working on their
They're
business.
working in their
their
business.
business. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I've never heard anybody explain it in that way. So, for example, I just want to bring it back to home, right? So, for example, let's say, for example, I own a studio. So when I do the editing, and let's say as I'm doing the interview here, I'm working in my business.
Correct. Yeah.
But if I work on the finances, the hiring and stuff, that is working.
On your business.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So the major pitfalls for small businesses, the number one is being undercapitalized. So it takes time for a business to make sales and get profits. If you don't have enough capital to sustain you until that point,
Yeah.
your business is going to fail.
Okay.
So that's one of the major step backs. The other one is contingency planning.
Okay.
What if something big goes wrong? The government changes regulations. So, for example, we have we invest in a company that does organic fertilizer, and they found out after they started that industry is highly regulated by the government.
Yeah.
So they met with the government and they say, as long as you market to rural farmers instead of urban farmers, you're okay.
Okay.
So that was their contingency plan. So it's really important to say, what can go wrong and what am I going to do if things go wrong in that way?
Understood.
That,
So basically having a plan A and also a plan B just in case.
Yeah.
All right, that is very interesting. So I think you touched on it a little bit, but my next question is, what do you think is actually important for business to succeed? Because as we said, most of them failed, and you gave us one, I think, about working on your business and the example, but what are the other factors that you think somebody that's starting a business today that they should do to maybe improve their chances to succeed?
I think the number one thing is have a good marketing plan.
Yeah.
And that means knowing your market. What will customers pay for?
Yeah.
Some people, for example, another business we invest in, Conscious Way Tours, they do tours, environmentally friendly tours, eco tours. And their initial focus was, when they built their website with the funding we gave them, they wanted to focus on North American customers.
Okay.
But suddenly they found that Chinese customers were much more interested than North American customers to book their tours. So they had to redo their marketing plan just to cater to the Chinese customers. So I would say the high factor in succeeding for small business to succeed is to have a good marketing plan.
Okay.
So know your customer, know the size of your market, and related to that is how to have a growth plan.
Okay.
So if you want to open one store or one shop and stay in one shop, that's fine. Nobody's going to criticize you.
Yeah.
But if you want to go after angel investment funds or bank funding, they want to know how you're going to grow your business.
All right.
So have a growth plan. Not just one shop, 5 shops, 10 shops, 100 shops. How are you going to get to that point? That's what you have to be thinking about, and that's what many businesses are not thinking about.
Interesting, interesting. And so, for example, in Tanzania, right, most of the people that start businesses, when you go talk to them, and you mentioned this point, they say they usually fail due to the lack of capital.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So I understand. So basically, and most of the time, I think it could be like a big factor, correct? But what do you think are some of the misunderstandings that maybe go towards that? Because there's some businesses that succeed with very little capital. So is that, would you say there's a misunderstanding there? And what are the other misunderstandings that most of the business owners go into business thinking, but maybe are different?
There's a fine balance, I think.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier something called undercapitalization,
Yeah.
but there's also the flip side of that called overcapitalization.
Okay.
So when you have not enough capital, you'd rely on your profits
Yeah.
for the businesses to succeed and grow.
Yeah.
If you get capital from a funding source, a bank, a micro lender, an angel investment fund, friends and family, then you depend on the capital to grow your business. You're not depending on the profits.
Okay.
That's a big danger.
Okay.
And when you're applying for funding, the funders want to make sure that you're growing your business based on the revenues of your company, not based on their funding.
Okay.
The analogy there is you have a car and you have an engine, and you put oil in the engine. The investors want to put oil or gasoline, but they want to make sure the engine is good. If the engine is bad, you can put as much gas as you want, but it won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure you have a good engine, which is the business. So you put capital, and then it grows.
Okay. So basically, what you're saying is, it's not just about getting capital, but you have to have underlying good business. You have to have a good business.
Yeah.
No matter how much capital, if you have a good business, you're probably not going to make it. Okay, so I guess the misconception is there. People think just capital will make a good business, but it's not just capital. So if I may ask a follow-up question there, if you could give us maybe 3 things that you look at to decide that this is a good business.
Okay. A management team. To make sure the people running the business have the necessary experience and education and working experience.
Okay.
So management team, market research, like I mentioned before. What is your market size? What is your market prices? And how will you grow that market? The third part. The third part is, I would say, exit strategy. For an angel investor, it's very important to know how they're going to get their money back from the company. So that can be from a merger, it can be from a sale of the company, it can be from an initial public offering, IPO. Those are all
Exit strategies.
Exit strategies. So I would say management team, market research, and exit strategy.
Okay, and you do work with a lot of startups, right? And you do you host business plan competitions and things like that. What are the things that because we talked about general business mistakes that people make, but what are the general startup mistakes that people make that you have seen when they're just starting up?
I would say the biggest one is lack of planning. They think, oh, I have a great business idea, I have a great product, I have a great service, and just based on that, I'm going to make a lot of money. That's not enough. You need to have a solid business plan, and that's why in our application process for funding, the first thing we do is we ask potential businesses to develop a business plan.
Okay.
That includes marketing, legal, all the on your business stuff that I was talking about. That having solid planning for businesses is probably the #1 reason why startups fail.
Okay.
Not planning ahead.
They haven't really thought about it, I guess, because planning, basically they haven't really thought about it, and they haven't really recognized maybe all the challenges and how they're going to face them. Something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And you talked about having a good business idea is the business plan that we're talking about. So as you review these business plans, or if somebody is writing a business plan, maybe not to get funding, but just to make their business, all right? What makes a good business plan?
Well, that's the $1 million question. Yeah. The main part of the business plan is to look at the business as a whole and say what are the potentials and what are the pitfalls of the business. Those are the 2 things that you want to look at. Then you break it down into sections. What is going to be my location? What is going to be my legal structure? Am I going to be a sole proprietorship? Am I going to be a LLC? Am I going to be what is going to be my legal structure? There's a marketing research section in the business plan. Do that thoroughly. What is my product mix? How do I deliver my products? The marketing, if you have a good business plan, it goes into considerable detail about how you're going to run the business, and it's like a roadmap. It tells you how to get from point A to point B with your business.
Okay. So let's say I'll pick one part of what you explained there, and I'll ask you maybe how to go about it in a high level way. So for example, the marketing plan or the product mix, all right? How would one go about, actually finding out, like, what should be my product mix? What should be my marketing plan?
That in companies in the US hire consultants, pay them millions of dollars just to answer that question.
All right.
So how does a small business owner do it? You have to do some thinking and some research. So for example, let's say you're a shop that's going to sell clothes for babies. So are you going to go high end and charge a high price and have low volume, or are you going to go low price, high volume?
Okay.
That's a marketing strategy decision that you need to make before you start your business.
All right.
So that kind of marketing strategy is based on knowledge of the demographics, of the market research, and knowledge of the product, both combined.
All right. That is interesting. And I do understand one of the factors that you said working on your business are the finances, the numbers, right? So let's say, let's focus more on the startups, right? What are the 3 first essential numbers that a business owner should be tracking when they're starting up?
Expenses. 3 startups. Yeah, no, I'm not really kidding. That's for real. How much you're spending on your products, on your services, on your rent, on your utilities, on your employees. That's the number 1 factor.
Yeah.
Because if you're more going out than coming in, you don't have a business.
Okay.
Second, revenues. How much you're bringing in sales. That revenues minus expenses is profit. So those are the 2 top numbers.
Okay.
The second I would say is lead generation.
Okay.
This is especially true for online businesses.
Okay. Yeah.
When, let's say you put up an online ad, you need to how many visitors that brings to your website, for example, or your Instagram page. How many people like a post with your product on it? Those kind of lead generation numbers are what will predict whether a product or a service succeeds or not.
Makes sense. So basically your costs, your revenue, and basically your marketing.
Yeah, leads especially.
Yeah. So how many people, is your marketing actually working?
Yeah.
Basically, that is the question.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll go back to the expenses part because as a startup owner too, I guess, from my end, there's a balance between, I would say, lowering your costs, right, and maintaining quality. So when you're tracking your expenses, what exactly should you be doing? Should you just be worried, I have to keep these expenses as minimal as possible? Or how exactly, what do you mean? What should you be aiming for in terms of expenses?
In tech startups, there's something called MVP, minimum viable product.
Okay.
That means that what's the lowest expenses you can have to satisfy the customer problem.
Okay.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
All right.
It works. It works for example, if you have a shop, are you going to have air conditioning in the shop? That can be a big expense if you have a shop. Is it going to make the difference of a customer buying something or not?
Okay.
That's the question.
Yeah.
If you have a studio and you're doing video, if I invest in better quality camera equipment, is that going to make a difference in people watching my videos?
Yeah, makes sense.
I think the idea of minimum viable product, MVP, is a good way to think about any product or service.
Yeah. So basically, I should spend to the tune that I'm bettering my product. I'm getting more people to buy.
But there's also an upper limit because you can have the perfect product, but if it costs too much to make, nobody's going to buy it.
Too expensive.
Yeah. So that's why I said minimum viable product. What is the most basic product that the customer will pay money for?
That will satisfy their need, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to try to be perfect, like I said before. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Okay. Have the minimum viable product.
All right. Sure. And you hit an interesting thing there. So there's also a lot of youth and even sometimes not youth, just generally people that have dreams of starting a business, but maybe they're too afraid of it and maybe they think it's too complex. What do you tell people like those?
I've said this in other presentations before, never give up. If you have a business idea and you think it can work, look at it from all angles. One thing I didn't talk about before that makes your business succeed is have a good advisory board. So people that you trust that know more about business than you in different areas, set up 5 or 6 people that you can ask questions to and test ideas with them.
Okay.
That's the best way to get the confidence to pursue your business idea.
Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, I'm just gonna ask you one last question on this, then we'll move on to the next session. And you can answer it as much as you can, all right? So in Tanzania, most of the businesses are online businesses. I think, and I'm talking about Instagram, not in terms of a website and stuff like that, because it's easier than opening a shop. All right. So, what is your general view? What would you advise a person that is starting an online business? Maybe just opening an Instagram account and selling clothes or perfumes or anything?
I would say 2 things basically, and they're connected to each other. One is online businesses, even more than brick and mortar businesses, are based on trust. So you have to develop trust between your customer and you. When you have a retail store, that's easy because they come into your shop, they talk to you, they see the product,
They touch it.
They develop trust very quickly. If you have an online business, that trust takes much longer to build. You're probably not going to sell your product on the first post. You have to think ahead of 10, 12, 20 posts in order to get that one sale from your customer. So that's a trust building process. Then the question is, how do you build the trust? I would say the secret to that is not to sell, is to inform.
Okay.
Don't sell your product, inform about your product. So what's an example? If you're a doctor and you focus on sports medicine, what is sports medicine? How do I benefit from sports medicine? These are questions that build trust, informative ways. You don't say, I'll give you 1 hour session for $50. That's selling. That gets old. Nobody trusts that. But if you tell them, this is sports medicine, this is how it benefits you, this is the different kinds of sports medicine, then they build trust and learn about your industry and learn about your products, and then they're willing to make the purchase.
It's almost building credibility.
Credibility is another way to say it.
Okay, because if you see somebody online, you're not sure about them. You're not quite sure. Then when, let's say, you go to a hospital, the setting itself makes you feel like you should trust this person.
Exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
interesting. So I'm going to add one more there, but not for online business. But basically, even we talked about startups, but even in general Tanzanian business, what do you think Tanzanian business in general could do better?
I don't know what the exact term, but there's something called the official economy and the unofficial economy. And a lot of businesses are working in the unofficial economy. They're not registered. They don't pay their employees according to the government regulations.
Yeah, the tax laws and stuff.
So I think there's a big discrepancy between businesses that are doing things officially and businesses that are doing things unofficially. So we as a funding organization, we only do businesses which do
Official businesses.
Official businesses. So I think bringing more unofficial businesses into the official area will boost the economy and help small businesses.
Okay, how do you think we can do that? Like move those? If you have any ideas, it's okay. Yeah.
You have to make it worth the while of the businesses. They have to gain something. Now small businesses feel that if I register, I have to pay more taxes. If I register, I have to pay more government fees. But they have to realize that that they get something too. They get legal protection. They get human resources help. So it's really a matter of the government saying, okay, you have to pay a little bit more, but you get a lot more in receives.
So basically, just making the small businesses understand what is to be gained when you do things officially through the government.
Exactly.
So it's an education thing that probably people have to understand.
Education and value addition. The government has to sit down and say, okay, people are going to pay more taxes, but they have to get more in return. What is that? That's a government question. The small business question is to say, okay, I'm going to participate in the official economy and I'm going to open doors because of that.
Okay, that is interesting. Thank you for that insight. So number two, I would like to get into the business plan competition.
Okay, so let me tell you, this is our first big initiative as a company.
Okay.
It's called the Zanzibar Business Plan Competition.
All right.
It's open to all small businesses in Zanzibar, and you apply through a business plan, and we are going to award the first $3,000, $1,500, and $500 to the best 3 business plans.
Right.
After that, we have 5 certificates of recognition who will also receive support.
Okay.
So that's the structure of the business plan. We started that on January 15th, and we already have 100 applications, so we're very excited about that.
All right.
So what makes a successful applicant, is that
Yeah.
the question? Having a good business plan.
Okay, and if we could go back before we go there, when does it end? When can people still apply?
The deadline is March 15th.
Okay.
So I encourage you to apply as soon as you can.
All right, that's great. Go on, sorry.
Okay. So that's that. No.
What makes a successful candidate in the business plan competition?
Okay, so the way it's structured is we have some preliminary questions, 5 questions that you have to answer. Then you submit your business. We provide a business plan template.
Yeah.
You fill in the business plan sections. You submit it back to us. We have a panel of judges who review the business plan. Then you come in for an interview with the selected finalists, and then we announce the winner.
Okay, interesting.
The good business plan goes back to what I was saying before about good business plan. It's
Yeah.
the same criteria. Good business plan, good competition plan, the same.
Okay, understood. And basically, I would see the biggest thing for most people when they think about it, in terms of when they aspire to win, is the funding that they will get. All right, but there's also the education side. But let's start with the funding. So for a small business, let's say if a small business, a startup, gets, let's say, wins and becomes number 1 and they get the funds, right? What do you think is the most important thing that they should put those funds towards? Or does that depend? Or can you give us a little bit insight?
Specific question.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the engine metaphor. It really try to make the engine better. Don't spend money on gas. Spend money on the engine.
Okay.
So how can I make my products better? How can I make my business run better? Those are the questions that you should put money to.
Okay.
How will I spend money doing online advertising campaigns? Not such a good question.
Okay.
So there's the engine and there's a gas. Spend money on the engine.
So spending money on advertisement is almost spending money on the gas.
Yeah.
But spending money on the engine would be, let's say, if I'm making clothes, if I can get a second machine of making more clothes or better quality.
You got it.
Something like that?
You got it.
Interesting.
Exactly,
Interesting. Okay. And the second question I would ask, so we know there's different type of funding. For example, for you, you're doing angel investing funding, right? You're investing, but there's loans, there's friends and family. Are these they're different and they come with different burdens? For example, loan, you have to pay interest on it, correct? So what are the different types of funding, and when are they right, or at what stage are they right for a business?
That's a very big question in startup funding. First and foremost, founder funds. So the savings of the owner, where the money that they've saved in their life and they're willing to put on the business. Generally, when a bank or a micro lender or a angel investor, they want to see that the owner is putting in money. They don't want to put money without the owner putting money too. So owner funds, that's one. Second is friends and family. These are good, but there's a lot of politics involved. Sometimes they say there's no written agreement. It's just, here's some money. Give me back my money now. So it's generally the least secure, but sometimes it's absolutely necessary to grow your business. Then comes micro lenders. Micro lenders give small loans, but very high interest rates. And the bad thing about that is that you have to pay them right away. They very rarely give you a grace period. So as soon as you get your loan, you have to pay the capital and the interest. That's a very big burden on small businesses. Then comes angel investments like ours. That's more flexible. We provide funding in exchange for equity in the company, so stocks in the company. That way you don't have to pay it right away, you can pay it when you exit. But you need to pay dividends. If your company makes money, you pay dividends, but you don't pay the capital until you exit.
Got it.
Upon exit. Then the big one that everybody wants to get is venture capital.
Okay.
That's when you're talking millions of dollars for big companies, from big companies like Google and Sequoia Capital and all of those. Those guys like to focus on what they call unicorns. A unicorn is a tech startup that can grow 50 to 100 times
Exponentially.
in a few short years. So that's what they're looking for. Angel investment funds are not looking for that generally. They want to exit, they want to make money, but they're not looking for, or at least we're not looking for a unicorn. Venture capitalists, they're looking for unicorns, and it's very difficult. You need to go through all the other steps I mentioned just to receive
To get there.
venture capital.
Understood. Okay, and I think you mentioned it a little bit there that, for example, when you take like the small microfinance loans, right, it could be very bearing on you because now you have to pay the capital and the interest right away. So my question would be, I think you answered it there a little bit, but I would just like to ask it from the expert, so we can also learn. Is there such thing as bad funding?
Bad funding is too much funding, too little funding, or too many strings attached.
Okay.
So, for example, some banks will only let you invest in capital expenditures. They won't let you invest in marketing. They won't give you money for marketing. Even if you need marketing, they won't give you money for marketing, but they will, like you said, let you buy a second machine. So undercapitalization, overcapitalization, and too many strings attached. Those are bad funding. That's the bad funding.
Okay. So, and lastly, then we'll move back deeper to the business plan competition. You've seen a lot of business plans and a lot of entrepreneurs applying to get like the funds, right? What are the most common mistakes that you see in the business plans?
Two extremes. Not enough information and too much information. So for example, a company wants to start selling fruit juices on a street corner in Dar es Salaam. They don't say what juices they're going to sell. They don't say how much. They don't say who their market is. This is too little information.
I'm just selling juice.
Huh?
They just say, I just want to sell juice.
Juice, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So you can't make a decision based on that. It's not possible. Then the other is I'm going to sell 5 milligrams of
avocado, plus some herbs mixed in juice.
Exactly. So they go into detail about the ingredients. They go into detail about the location. Why it's the best location ever. That's too much information.
Okay.
So it's to strike a balance in between too little and too much information to give what is necessary from the perspective of an investor to make a good decision.
Okay. And basically, what is necessary are the things that you mentioned that fall into good business plans, which you've already mentioned. So I shouldn't explain too much. I shouldn't put too much information in the business plan. You know what I mean? Balance. Like I'll be selling the juice, but my haircut will be like this. That is not necessary. All right. So let's go back to the business plan and what you're doing with the organization. I want to understand what does helping startups mean to you?
Okay, one thing when I came to Tanzania, in the US, the market for small businesses to start a small business is differs from one region to another,
Yeah.
but it's still pretty level. In Canada too. In Tanzania, the Zanzibar startup community is very underdeveloped compared to the mainland.
Yeah.
So while we're trying to generate good investments for my company, that's the goal for the business plan competition. We're also trying to increase or improve the startup ecosystem in Zanzibar.
Okay.
So that we generate more people starting businesses, more people funding businesses, government support for businesses, NGO support for businesses. That's the goal with the competition. It's not just to
Make money.
fund 3 companies and that's it. It's to generate the startup ecosystem of Zanzibar.
Okay, that is a pretty worthy goal, I would say. And if I may ask, who is this opportunity really meant for? Like, who are you targeting? Is there a particular age, maybe, or something like that? Anything?
We're looking for startup businesses that are in the idea or early stages of growth.
Okay.
We don't want a company that already has 5 locations to apply for funding. They're not going to get it.
Yeah.
We're looking more of the single or small group of entrepreneurs that are looking to start or grow their company.
Okay.
That's the one thing we haven't talked about so much that we should probably talk about is scaling.
Okay.
So scaling is a catchphrase in startup community. When you go from serving a small number of customers to a very big number of customers. This is very important for tech startups, but it's also important for franchises, for retail sales, for all the. So how are you going to get from serving a small number of companies to serving a big number of companies? That's the question. That's the question.
The thing that you're trying to help them with.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, there's a lot of people that will apply. As of now, there's 100 people that already applied, right? And only 3 will win the funds, and 5 will receive their certificates. Correct? What is in it for everybody else? What do you think they stand to gain?
Well, first you get the business plan template just for applying. That's a valuable document.
Okay.
Because in it, it helps you think through the problems of starting a business. So just by completing the business plan, you're already doing a better job for your business.
Okay.
So I think the key to that is that you have a completed business plan that even if you don't receive funding from us, you can try another angel investment fund, you can try a bank, you can try a micro lender, you have a good business plan. So I think thinking of it in terms of gaining a tool for business growth is the best way to think of how everybody will benefit from the fund.
And if I can add on that, and you can tell me if I'm accurate. But even if you don't use it to go get funding, it just helps you think about the things that you might not otherwise think about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
It's even if nobody reads it except for yourself, it's still a valuable document.
Okay.
Because it helps you think through problems that your business will face.
Interesting. All right. So, guys, if you're in Zanzibar and if you fall into one of those categories, let's say you're in the idea phase or you're just starting up, please make sure that you do apply to the business. If you can tell us where exactly they can go and do that and give them details.
Sure. Please go to our website at coprosperityfund.com or email us at contact@coprosperityfund.com and we'll get back to you within 24 hours.
All right, you should find the contact details below the video right here. All right, so one thing that you also talked about that I would want us to get to a little bit into, then after that I will ask you a question. So what we do in our podcast, the last guest leaves a question for the next guest,
really?
but you don't get to know the question
I didn't
till
know
we
that.
ask it.
Okay, all right.
And after you answer that question, you can also leave a question, any type of question for the next guest. Okay. So you talked about being a serial entrepreneur. All right. What are the things that you have learned from there? And one thing that I really like you to touch on is, have you failed? Was there a failure in that? What can I say? In that journey, and what are the biggest lessons that you have learned from being an entrepreneur? Let's say however many lessons you can give us.
People will help you, but nobody will save you.
Okay.
I think that's the hardest lesson to learn. You think you need capital.
Yeah.
So somebody is going to give you capital and that will save your business just by itself. Or you need better marketing, so you pay a marketing consultant and that will help you solve your business. That will help your business, one part of it, but it's not going to save your business overall.
Yeah.
So I think the most important thing is when ask for help, that's very important, but don't expect anybody to save you.
Okay.
That's
That's
a
very
different
interesting.
mindset.
So self-reliance almost.
So almost no, not self-reliance. Rely on others,
Yeah.
but up to a point.
Okay.
Don't expect others to come bail you out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you one more question in that space. I talked about, I asked whether did you, in that journey, whether you experienced any failure, because a lot of people are just afraid to fail and start in that. So what do you think of failure in that context of, like, having business and stuff like that?
I'll say this wasn't. It was a failure. In a way, I told you that I started cutting grass when I was younger, and we built it up to about 25 properties, and we were cutting grass for them. When we stopped because we had to go to school, and then somebody who had more business sense said, "Why stop at 25? We can do 200 properties." And they came and got our properties. They offered lower prices, and they grew as a big company. So I would say it was a failure to recognize the opportunity.
Okay.
So if I had thought about it more and said, why stop at 25? Because we only have one lawnmower, then we buy
More
more lawnmowers and more people. So I think it was a failure to recognize the opportunity. That was a big thing for me, because we had other concerns and we wanted to do those, so we let it go. But if we pursued it and grew the business, we would have made
Big money.
more money. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask one more question there, then I'll give you the question that was left. So my next question there is, seems like, you have been an entrepreneur from a young age, all right? What do you think? Were you born with that spirit? Or entrepreneurs born, or are they nurtured based on their environment and what they interact with?
No, I was not born with it. When I was growing up, we would have dinner with my family every night, and not every night, but almost every night, my mother and father would say, "Okay, what's a good business idea?"
Interesting.
Yeah, and we would talk about it. My sister hated it. She didn't want. Now she's good in business, but back then she didn't want to participate in the conversation. We talked about it, and we came up with. We never did any of them, but we were thinking about it at a young age.
They were almost implanting the idea of, like, having a business and making you think about it.
From very young, yeah.
Do you encourage other parents to do that with their kids?
To a point, there's more to life than making money. It's better to have a good life than a good business. But having a good business can be part of having a good life.
I agree.
Yeah.
That is
It's
so nice.
important to keep in mind.
Okay, so the last guest, he had a very interesting question.
Okay, I'm a bit scared. Yeah.
He should be. All right, so the question that was left by the last guest, so the last guest was a friend of the show. His name is Nastori Makendi. He did very well in his studies in Tanzania. He was top in Form 6 in university. Now he works for Booking.com in the Netherlands.
Wow.
Yeah, so we just wanted to get a perspective of that. So the question that he left, I'm giving you the background so you can understand his thinking. The question that he left is, what's your idea of the afterlife?
Afterlife. Oh boy.
If you're comfortable answering that.
Ooh. That's a spiritual question.
Yeah, completely away from the business.
Let me tell you what I think about that. Chemistry, biology, physics. That's what I think about that. So what happens after you die? Maybe there's something else. Maybe your spirit goes somewhere. But really, it all stops after you die.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We really don't know.
We don't know, and there's not only we don't know, but we can't know.
Yeah.
And it's fine to think about it, but if you let it get away of living your life, you have a problem. So it's important to think about. Let me put it another way. totally different way from what I just said.
Yeah, it's okay.
Chemistry, biology, and physics, that's one way of thinking of it. The other way of thinking about it is about your legacy. What are people going to remember you for?
Okay.
Your family, your friends, your business associates, your community. What legacy are you going to live after you die?
Impact.
Impact. That's a way of thinking about the afterlife.
Okay.
After you die, what's going to remain of you? Is it a business?
Yeah.
Is it a house? Is it a family?
Well-mannered kids.
Yeah, exactly. What's gonna be left of you after you die that's not you but part of you? That's what I think you can think of.
All right. Very interesting. It's an interesting question. So I'll put my take on it. For me, I think I don't think of the afterlife, but I think of demise. Like one day I won't be here. In that way. And what that does for me, it makes me treasure my time here.
I couldn't agree with you more. I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
All right. So I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what question are you leaving for the next guest? It could be on anything. Like just enjoy yourself.
What are the 3 most valuable things in your life?
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. You really like your business. You're
I
into
love
this
it.
stuff.
I
I love
really
that.
do.
I
Yeah.
love that, boss.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Is there anything else you want to say before we close the show?
Thank you for having us. There's one other thing I'd like to mention about the after the small business competition, we're gonna launch an initiative called the Small Business Seminar Series, and that's going to be a series of seminars and workshops for small businesses across Tanzania.
Okay.
So that's going to help you with your marketing, it's going to help you with your legal, all the parts of your business plan that we talked about. We're going to have an expert come and talk about it and do a workshop and help the small businesses. It'll be free.
Okay.
So that's coming up after the business plan competition, so stay tuned.
Oh, hopefully you'll give us the location so we can share it with our followers. So guys, as you heard, right, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's now an investor. He's a person that has done this. So I think we gain to, what can I say? We stand to gain a lot from the business plan competition. So please participate if you haven't yet, but also look out for the seminars coming. In case you're not in Zanzibar, the business plan competition is in Zanzibar, but the seminars will also be all over Tanzania, right?
Yeah.
And they will be free. So guys, if you're doing a business, if you're looking for starting a business, please make sure that you follow our page and you follow us. We'll also leave details regarding their official pages so you can make sure that you do attend those. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe the fans will get a lot from this conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye, guys. Goodbye. Make sure you like, you subscribe. Make sure you go and watch episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as well as episode 6 right here. Thank you very much and take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think we're good.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah. I didn't stop once. Great. Wow.